Alright, what's going on today, YouTube? It's me, Shotgun Gameplays, and for today's episode, I am bringing you guys the Blue Eyes Buster Blader deck. Now, I know I've been hyping this up, I've been doing a couple polls on YouTube. You guys said that you wanted this deck, so yeah, here it is, man. This deck's whole quirk is basically setting up a better skill drain effect on your opponent's monsters only, for one. And then with Blue Eyes Jet Dragon also protecting all of your other monsters while returning them to the deck. This deck is absolutely fucking wild, and I cannot wait to show you guys the replays. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into this deck list. We're going to start off with 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. This is going to be like, I guess, our availability card to be able to go into Abyss and Jet Dragon. Jet Dragon just works so good in this deck. There's no reason to not have him. It's literally a plus side, and it's like having a fucking Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, but better. Like, quite literally, that's how I've always seen Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. If you look at my older videos from almost, I think, a 6 months, half a year, close to a year ago, I had a video where I called Blue Eyes Jet Dragon DPE on steroids. So we're going to have 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. We're going to have 1 the White Stone of Legend to be able to search our Blue Eyes White Dragons from our deck if need be. Anytime that I've ever dueled this, I haven't had to use the White Stone of Legend. I usually just use this for link summoning, and his effect is useless because I've already had my Blue Eyes White Dragons from my Ancients, you know? So next we're going to go 3 Buster Whelp of Destructions. This allows you to add any Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand except Buster Whelp. It's like a bread and butter search engine combo card. It is very, very good. I love it, and then it also has this bonus effect to where if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Buster Blader card, I can discard 1 Destruction Sword card to special summon it. Usually the card I'm going to be discarding is Destruction Sword Memories, so I can fusion summon into my Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer. So next we're going to go into our Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This card allows you to equip this card to any of your Buster Blader cards, and your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. This locks your opponent out of your extra deck, while also simultaneously having them locked out of their monster effects that are on the field with the Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman. Like, it's literally locking your opponent out of everything that they can possibly do. This deck is honestly quite literally broken. The only problems that I've had is my opponents quitting. Like, actual, I'm not joking. They surrender very, very, very often with this deck. It's honestly kind of crazy. Like, you wouldn't expect this deck to be so good, but it is literally a lock deck that is based around an entire engine without having to have your average lock cards like Dark Ruler No More, Skill Drain, things of that sort. So next we're going to go into 2 Sages with Eyes of Blue. This allows us to search our Ancients to our hand, along with our little guy right here, our Buster Dragon Sword, and then our Buster Whelp of Destruction. The Blue Eyes cards, for some reason, search the Buster Blader cards. I know it's because it's a non-specific search. It says a level 1 light tuner. That's any level 1 light tuner. So, like, yeah, you can draw any of your Buster Blader cards off of Sage with Eyes of Blue. So next we're going to go into 3 the White Stone of Ancients. This is going to get our access to our Jet Dragon, our Abyss Dragon, our White Dragon. It allows us to go into any Blue Eyes card that we have in our deck, which is absolutely phenomenal. So next we're going to go into 1 Maxi and 1 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. The only reason why I run 1 is because I have Crossout Designator. Most of the time I'm using them to stop my opponent's Maxi or Crossout Designator. But it's good to have them when I can use them, you know what I mean? Next, we're going to go into 3 Dictators of D. This allows you to choose the attack of your opponent's targets, or choose the targets of your opponent's attacks. I said it backwards, I'm sorry. Then it also allows you to be able to special summon your Blue Eyes cards from your graveyard. Like, it's a huge bonus. There's no reason to not run 3. So the next card we're going to be going on to is Buster Blader the Destruction Swordsman. This card is going to allow us to be able to go into our Buster Blader the Dragon Destruction Swordsman, or Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. It's a really long convoluted name. But this is going to allow us to get into our super strong fusion monster using Prelude of Destruction. This allows me to send, for 1, the Buster Blader of Destruction and the Buster Whelp of Destruction straight to my graveyard while setting up the skill drain effect on my opponent. It's honestly quite busted. So next we're going to go into Dragon Spirit of White. This allows us to be able to banish our opponent's back row. Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon literally lets us search our Jet Dragon straight from our deck, which this card is always destroying cards your opponent controls, so you'll be able to special summon Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, and then all of your cards can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So we're going to have one Raigeki for a board wipe, monster board wipe, then we're going to go Harpy's Feather Duster for a back row board wipe. We're going to have our Polymerization. Our Polymerization is going to allow us to fusion summon into any of these two fusion monsters. Yeah. We're going to have Monster Reborn to be able to reborn any of our monsters. This is the thing that really shocked me. When I first saw that Mausoleum came out, I honestly thought it was a really trash card. I've never run it in any deck whatsoever. But this card actually really surprised me. During your main phase, you can normal summon one level 1 light tuner in addition to your normal summoner set. So let's say that I have Mausoleum of White, I have Buster Whelp of Destruction, and I have the White Stone of Ancients. Or better yet, imagine if I have Sage with Eyes of Blue and the White Stone of Ancients. It's an absolutely busted bread and butter combo that allows me to go into any of my Link monsters. It's always going to be Protector Whelp of Destruction. That allows me to trigger off for one, the Blue Eyes effect in my graveyard, and then it's also going to let me trigger off a Buster Blader effect from this little dude right here. So next we're going to go into our Called by the Grave, Crossout Designator, Ultimate Fusion. This allows us to be able to pop cards after we fusion summon Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon using our Blue Eyes on the field. And it also shuffles all of the materials back into our deck for us so we don't have to worry about ever running out of cards. Next, we're going to go Destruction Sword Flash. This basically allows me to negate an effect, which is fucking just absolutely busted. And it allows me to banish all monsters my opponent controls, bro. Just casually banish them, you know. Next, we're going to go into our Destruction Sword Memories. This allows me to discard one card, special summon one Buster Blader monster from my deck. Usually, that's always going to be Buster Blader of Destruction. We're just trying to get this card to the graveyard as fast as possible because the second effect of this card lets us summon our Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. We're going to have 3 copies of those. We're going to run 2 Prologues of Destruction, or Prologue of Destruction, my bad. This allows us to be able to special summon our Buster Dragon straight from the extra deck and send the fusion materials for our Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman straight to the graveyard. So it kind of like this card sets itself up using Prologue of Destruction. It's honestly quite broken. We're going to have 1 Infinite Impermanence, and then we're going to have 2 Trap Tricks to be able to search any of our trap cards that have multiple copies. So let's get into our extra deck. This is what allows us to set up the Skill Drain effect that only works on our opponent. We're not affected by the Skill Drain effect. That's what makes this deck so broken. And on top of that, I can also lock out my opponent's extra deck. So this card allows me to change all dragon monsters my opponent controls, and they cannot activate their effects. It changes them to defense position and stops their effects from working. The reason why it stops dragon monsters is because Buster Dragon's effect is it turns all of my opponent's monsters into dragon cards, locking the Skill Drain effect on my opponent's cards. So we're going to have a Azure-Eyes Silver Dragon. This is just so our opponent can't target our cards for 2 turns. Usually that's not going to happen because you're already going to have your lock set up in 1 turn, so your opponent can't activate effects. And then this also lets you special summon your Blue Eyes from your graveyard. So next we're going to go Virtual World Kibi Shen Shen. This just allows you to always have 1 extra monster on the field while simultaneously putting all of your opponent's cards that went to the graveyard straight to the banish pile instead of being put to the graveyard. So next we're going to go Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. I run this card so I can steal any one of my opponent's monsters, and then usually I link them away or I use their card for a synchro summon. So it's a free steal card, and then I can also rank him up and get a pop card using Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon. So the next card is the Zombie Vampire. If you use a monster with a level that is owned by your opponent for this XYZ summon, treat it as a level 8. Neither player can target this card with the effects of special summon monsters except those special summoned from the graveyard. You can detach 1 material from this card. Each player sends the top 4 cards of their deck to the graveyard. Then if there were any monsters sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can special summon one of those monsters to your field. Now, I don't know if that ignores summoning conditions. It doesn't specifically say it ignores summoning conditions, but that's any monster that gets sent to the graveyard. Even your opponent's monsters. Like, it's absolutely fucking crazy. So, I just explained what Galaxy Eyes Cypherblade Dragon does. There's no reason to explain him any further. We're going to go into Divine Arsenal Zeus. This allows us to board wipe our opponent once again, while also giving it extra materials using my Galaxy Eyes Cypherblade Dragon as a material to summon Zeus. So next we're going to go into Link Karibo. This is basically to just get our eggs off the field if we can't doing any other situation. Protector Whelp allows us to be able to send our Destruction Sword memory straight to our graveyard, allowing us to activate its graveyard effect. And then it also has this nifty little effect where if I control a Buster Blader card that didn't declare an attack this turn, I can inflict damage equal to my opponent's life points equal to that monster's attack. So let's say if my I just randomly have this guy on the field, or my opponent stops Buster Dragon, the Destroyer Swordsman, from attacking, I can use Protector Whelp's effect, and they're going to be taking massive damage. Because with the max amount of damage that this card can have, technically speaking, Leak monsters can't go into defense, so if for some reason your opponent puts either an XYZ Synchro or Fusion card into their extra deck zone, that's 6,000 attack this card gains. That's an OTK if you use Protector Whelp's effect with burn damage. Yeah. So our last card is going to be Access Code Talker. If you guys enjoy these replays, please let me know in the comments down below. This deck is absolutely fucking fabulous. I think it's one of the most fun decks to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel because it locks your opponent out of doing anything. It locks all of your opponent's monster effects. It locks your opponent out of special summoning from the extra deck. This deck is just absolutely berserk. But anyways, this intro has been way too long. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave me a like. Please consider leaving me a subscription. Please enjoy the replays. It's been me, Shotgun Gameplays, and peace out.